It is time for another episode of Flames Unfiltered, hosted by Burud, Kyle Lewis. And where do we go today, Kyle? Is we're out of the playoffs officially now. Officially. Even though we've been on the playoffs for a while. But
yeah.
I got positive this week. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
I have positive. I do got a good one for you, though. Last night. Last night was a hell of a night. I had my son had 2 baseball games, and then after that, I had to coach my daughter's 12 and under girls hockey, and I ended up having to fill a position. We had just a little scrimmage fun night, and I skated the whole time with them, and that's tough on a 52-year-old or 51-year-old body. And then I come home to watch the Flames. So I shower, settle in, just get seated. I watch the first period, and I'm tired. It's late. I mean, it's really late for you. It's late for me. It's really late for you.
11:30 for me, yeah.
Yeah, well, it started at 9:30 for me. So I'm a period in, and the period break comes. I think, okay, I'm just going to close my eyes for just a minute here.
Famous last words.
So I open my eyes, and Ryan Leslie's still talking. I'm like, okay. So I'm listening. I'm like, what the hell? I come to figure out that I fell asleep and missed the whole second period. And they were at the intermission for the second and third period.
Wow.
Missed the whole thing.
Yep.
Went back and watched the game highlights. I missed nothing.
Yeah. I was dead last night. I slept through everything. Because of that, I was up so early. I watched the game this morning. Which is a rarity for me. Usually I can tough it out, but I just had nothing left to give. Absolutely nothing.
I usually tough it out. Actually, I usually look forward to it because it's quiet in the house. I sit back, have a drink, watch the game. I kind of enjoy it. I couldn't pull it off last night.
That's why I became a Flames fan, is because that was like when I was a kid, like the whole house would be asleep and I get to watch my hockey game, right?
Yeah. I love West Coast.
So
I love West Coast games, but didn't love it so much last night. Got a quick question for you. So I saw this graphic this week, and it said, "What Flames team would you pick?" And it had 3 players on each team.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Do you see it? So I'll read them off. I'm curious to know which one you'd pick. Team Iginla has, of course, Iginla, Fleury, and Giordano. Team Gaudreau had Gaudreau, McInnes, and Roberts. And Team Nieuwendyk had Nieuwendyk, Kachuk, and Phaneuf. Which 3 do you take?
I went back and forth on this quite a bit. Yeah. I had to go with Team Iginla.
Me too.
I knew you would, because I know how you feel about Theo Fleury in particular.
Well, not just that, though. Because I look at Giordano as like, he was just a solid defenseman for us for quite some time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then again, like, what more do you say, right?
Yeah.
I did look at the Gaudreau one pretty strongly, though, because I was a huge Roberts and McInnes fan. Like,
well,
I'm not saying I wasn't there either, but I'm just saying I looked at that one very strongly.
Yeah. Phaneuf was kind of the weak link in the whole thing, actually.
He was, for sure. He really was.
Apart from even those first 2 years, he was so fun to watch. He was a bit of a disaster defensively at times. So,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that was really interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually forgot about that. Now, I have one goal for this week, for this show, for our YouTube viewers, is to not look as fat as I looked last week.
Oh my!
Oh man, it was the most unflattering video or image I've ever seen of myself. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I looked at mine. I'm like, God, I got to clean up a little better for the show, and I didn't do it again today. So next week, I'm cleaning up for the show, man. I'm cleaning up.
Is it a special show?
No, well, no, but the next week after that it's 200 episodes coming up. I have no idea what we're doing. It'll be the end of the season show too. Maybe we'll have to have a couple toddies on that one.
That's doable.
Yeah,
that's absolutely doable. So what? We got a whole bunch of things going on.
Yeah, we do.
I guess I'll throw out the kind of big news for me locally, / Calgary. So Edm Cgy, his Wildcat season, unfortunately, is done. It was done rather quickly. Got swept in the playoffs. So now former Moncton Wildcat Edm Cgy has joined the Calgary Wranglers on what they call like an amateur tryout, but essentially what it means is the Flames have assigned him to the Wranglers until I think June 25th to sign him. But I don't know how much ice he'll see because they're going to have a lot of bodies back there. But it's cool with the team, so that's exciting.
I'm interested to see what happens with Lipinski and Hanzik too, because Vancouver's been eliminated. So interesting to see. I've already purchased my AHL TV package for the playoffs. I am going to watch.
Nice. Yeah,
because there's going to be a lot of really interesting things to watch. So that is some exciting news. Z, I told you we had good things to talk about.
Well, I'd be curious to see what other teams in the NHL, and I'm going to plead my ignorance here, but I'd be curious to see what other teams in the league have an AHL team that's going to have as many reinforcements and new faces for a playoff run as we are.
I think we might be surprised.
Yeah.
I think we might be surprised.
Buffalo, I would imagine. But there's a lot of other teams that are like, especially the East. I mean, all of a sudden the Penguins are back in it. The Flyers have been free falling. Like, it's really hard to say who's going to have who, right?
Well, that Eastern Conference is a shit show. I mean, it is like who can step further back into the hole every night. It's like who can shoot themselves in the foot. Detroit last night. I'm like, what are you guys? Oh, come on here now.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I used to hate Detroit probably because they bounced Calgary in 2007. They were always so dominant, right, when they're in the West.
Kind of a Steve Yzerman fan, though.
Well, how couldn't you be? 100%. And I mean, all the Eastern shuffling has led to some great sound bites from John Tortorella too. So always have that to enjoy.
I like him.
It's hard not to in some instances. Did you hear about AJ Greer?
No, what happened?
He is going to be graduating from Boston University in a few weeks. Well, in a month, I think, with a Bachelor of Arts. So he actually, despite choosing to pursue pro hockey, is finishing his university degree in interdisciplinary studies, which I think is really fucking cool.
Huh.
Very cool. So it's kind of something that he told himself he'd do and told his family he'd do. And I mean, I've got 3/4 of a master's and I never finished because I found money and less misery elsewhere.
Except for the day you found misery.
Oh, it was one of the worst days I've worked in my life today. It got to the point it was actually comical. And it was actually officially my 18th year with the company, which there's a bit of a competition.
Were they slightly screwing with you to try to like push you over the edge after 18 years, or was it just a coincidence of?
No, it was just like prophetic the way it all happened. Like people I haven't talked to in ages reaching out to me for stuff, logistics, issues, trucks breaking down. Like my phone didn't stop. Like I was catatonic for about 3 hours straight. I don't know how I got through the day. And before jumping on to the podcast, I was actually at the gym and tried to channel that anger as much as I could. But I've always said I can't have 2 bad days in a row in my job. And if I have one tomorrow, I am walking out, and I guarantee you that because I can't do that again.
I promised you I'd get you into a better mood. I will. I did.
So far, so good.
How about this? We get them officially eliminated on, was it Thursday night by Winnipeg?
There's the good news. Yay.
Yeah, there's the good news. But we knew that was going to happen, so I didn't lose any sleep. But here's the good news. We both kind of have, I don't know why, a soft spot for Winnipeg, and they clinched the same night. So they're in, and they're kind of my team to cheer for. I'm
gonna give you 2 reasons why I think that is. When they're both fairly simple. You're close to them geographically.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a kid, I've always been a Flames fan since 82-ish.
Yeah.
82-ish, 83. But yeah, it'd be tough to say that. For sure 84 is when it did. But I remember as a kid, when the old Winnipeg Jets, I mean, that was the place I went when I was a kid, to see my first NHL game was Winnipeg Arena, the old Jets,
Yeah. It's funny when you said that. I thought of my NHL bed sheets when I was a kid. And I wasn't even a hockey fan when I had these. And there was a Jets logo on them. And in my mind, they're the nicest, most comfortable sheets I ever had. But in reality, I'm quite confident they were like 60 grit sandpaper. But they had the old Jets logo on them.
If you had them, would you put them on your bed?
No, I like being in a relationship, so probably not.
I used to work with this guy. Quick story. He used to work with this guy, and he was probably 23 years old, not married, nicest guy in the world. And he kept saying, I'm not sure why I can't find a nice girl. And I said, Nick, I know why. And he's like, why is that? I said, because you have a Tom Brady poster in your bedroom. You're 23 years old.
Wow. Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, for
Women
sure.
don't like that.
And actually, my boss said this to me one time, and I'm inclined to agree. Shoes. Women love decent shoes on men. Very important. If you got, like runners, at your job, whatever it might be, like people don't take you seriously because you don't take yourself seriously, right? That's my philosophy. So, this is going to continue down a path completely unrelated to what we're talking about. I like the Jets because they're a small market team that completely disappeared because of our awful dollar and lack of corporate sponsorship in Winnipeg, and they happened to return against all odds, and that's just an awesome story. And I remember when they announced the Jets name and like the fans going crazy at the Forks in Winnipeg, and it's just a great story. So I'm glad they're back, and I want to see them do well, and I think they could use another decent playoff run. Well, of course they could, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Let's talk some Flames. So that Winnipeg game, Connor Zary, a healthy scratch. Were you taken back by this, or what did you think? What were your thoughts?
Oh, there's so much that gets made of this stuff.
I
was a bit taken aback. I mean, I didn't think he was nearly as good lately since his injury, which is understandable. I don't love the decision, but I'm also not going to sit here and berate Ryan Huska for it. I mean, people do that with young players. They did with Gaudreau his rookie season, right?
I actually liked it. I don't think it's a bad. I don't think you take it as a negative. Like I really don't.
You're pretty well screwed. And what did he do after that? He tried him out at center, and he did quite well. So
freaking had a good night, didn't he? I'm not sure where he fits at center, and a lot of people are talking, well, is he a center in the future here? And he might just be, but you got to give me a little bit of time here. Yeah. I really think it would help our organization if we could, if he could be a second or third line center for us. That'd be awesome as a whole, right? But time will tell on that, and I need more than 2 games. And one I saw was pre-play. So I can't really count that one. So I need to see a little bit more. Now, I am very interested to see what your take is on this. I think the big news of the week, Martin Pospisil, is he going to be able to walk a fine line and be able to rein this in just a little bit? Is he hits Morrissey, gets a 5-minute major, gets a game misconduct. I believe that's his 3rd of the year. He escapes suspension. I did find it very interesting what Morrissey had said. Did you see what he responded?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I actually thought it was really pretty stand up on his part. I do think it was a dirty hit. I don't think Pospisil went into the hit thinking I'm going to dirty this guy up, but I just don't know if he knows how to handle these situations.
Well, to this point, and he had another boarding penalty against San Jose.
Yes, he did.
I don't know. The jury's still out. It seemed like he did for a while. He's putting up a few points, but still playing physical. But I think in order to try and keep his place in the lineup and ensure he becomes an everyday player, as he seems to have, but in so doing, he's relied a lot on his physicality to a point where it's like you kind of have to find a way to rein it in, right? But I don't know.
I think it's okay. I'm going to get maybe some pushback on this. I think what he's doing is great. He's earning a reputation, which I don't really want him to earn, but I think it's easier to rein it in a little bit in a player than bring it out in a player.
Yeah.
So if he can learn, which he will, oh my gosh, he will. How many NHL games has he played? 50?
Yeah, about 50, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay.
Be more if he hadn't been suspended.
Oh. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I want him to walk the line, though. I think there's a lot of players in this league that walk the line and do a good job of it, right? And we praised Matthew Tkachuk up and down for this exact same thing.
Well, yeah, in large part though, because Tkachuk was a much more consistent scorer, so he had that going for him, right? So just like Brad Marchand does. So
I still see a big offensive upside for Pospisil, though.
I do too.
Making
He's got a great, like, his speed north south is fantastic, and he's got a heavy shot. So sure, I mean, but he's not going to be in the same league as the players I just mentioned. So I think everybody has a lot of time for him because he's so effective when he's on the ice. But we'll be curious to see what he looks like next year.
I think if you polled Flames fans, and we should do this one of these weeks, is do at the end of the season, do a poll. I think he would be in the top 2 for favorite Flames of the year.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I think him and Zary actually.
I think that's probably who it would be.
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting topic. I'm interested to see in the coming years where it goes and how he's able to rein that in, but yet still be effective and walk that line.
Yep. No, I mean, he's established himself as an everyday NHL player, so we need guys like him. I mean, he's very Furland-esque, right?
Only I think he's got more offensive upside and he's faster.
Faster, yes. Offensive upside, I'm really not sure yet. I think so, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
I was comparing him to Furland Tuna, and I had to back myself up a little bit and be like, is that because he's concussion prone or?
No, I don't think that's why. Although that style of play would lend itself to that. Are we getting sponsored by Coca-Cola, by the way? Because if not, we should be. Yeah,
we should.
I felt I should start talking more there so you could have that sip that you were looking for about 2 minutes ago. Do you think this has been bugging me because I'm a big milestone guy? So Sharon Govich at 30, and I'm happy, right? Mm-hmm. I want Uyghur to hit 20.
He will.
Okay. Do you think Coleman hits 30?
Yeah.
Is it an empty netter?
Probably.
Good answer.
Who gives a shit?
Oh, I don't care. None of it matters.
I look at those players, the guys you just mentioned, and it's like, wow, what seasons? Yeah. What a season, right? We had a struggle bus on this team this year. What kind of season do we have if Sharon think about this, Flames fans. Pospisil, surprise. Zary, surprise. Sharon Govich, surprise. Coleman, surprise. What if we don't have those 4 surprises?
Well, we probably wouldn't have a team.
I mean, we'd be fighting with the Sharks, and that's scary.
It sounds like euphemism, but he's talking about the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, we're very fortunate to have those guys that have had those years, but it also begs the question: can they repeat them next year?
Usually not. So that's why we need somebody to step up. Maybe 2 of the 4 will. I'd say Pospisil and Zary have the best chance of it, just because, and Sharon Govich.
Yeah,
Coleman, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even going to be upset with him if he doesn't, because I don't expect him to, right?
Yeah, no, I think that wouldn't be a realistic expectation necessarily. What do you think of Coronato's game? Did you sleep through that shift, or did you see it?
You want to fast forward right away to the X Factor then, huh?
I never know, but apparently I do.
I think you do by that comment, and let's see. That is one hell of a segue. And the Canadian guy, Coronato is a bust. Book it.
Bookmark it. What do you want me to do with this?
I want to know. Okay, you can start the hate mail right now. I don't know that I disagree.
How the hell can we even disagree? It's way too early. I think I saw this and I sighed derisively, I think, when I did.
That's why I put it on here, Kyle. I thought of you. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's good. That's good. Create controversy.
Yeah. After the point he picked up last night, the way he played, there's lots of reasons to think he's not a bust. I don't know. But we've never really been clear on what his ceiling is, though, either.
Is he? No, and I agree. Is he jumping off the page for you, though?
He did last night.
So I know, but he's done it like twice in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And that worries me a little bit. Now he's got, okay, our sample size is not fair. Like, we have not seen enough. I am fully on board with that. But the Canadian guy has a ballsy tweet here, but I kind of think I'm not saying it's going to happen that way. I'm just saying that, like,
You don't see enough reason to believe the opposite at this point.
I don't see enough. And here's why. Here's my justification to this. Now, he's a first round pick. I think he has offensive upside. Well, obviously, I think he does.
Seen it, yeah.
But like, he's not jumping off the page for a first rounder. He's not.
No, but they don't always do, and sometimes they take more time, right? So I don't know. Sure. I think the jury's completely. I mean, right now, possible comparable could be Chuck Kobasu.
Do you want him to end up being like Chuck Kobasu?
No, but I mean,
I don't either.
He might have a couple 20-goal seasons and be relatively effective, but people expect him to be a 60 to 80-point guy, and I don't know if I see that. I really don't know at this point.
Well, so then you're agreeing with me. I don't see that either.
I said I don't know if I see it at this point.
So here's probably a better question, Kyle. How many points does he have to put up on a yearly basis over the next 5 years for us to believe he's not a bust? I think he has to be a 60-point guy, doesn't he?
I was going to say 55 plus, I think.
But if he's putting up 50 and then 60 and then 40, is he a bust?
Well, at that point, I think 50 and 60, 40 becomes hopefully just a bad year, right? Yeah. But I don't think it makes him a bust. I think he's a bust if he's only like 30, 40 points and then falls to the league in 5 years or something, right? It's really hard to define that. I mean, that's all relative to when he was drafted, which obviously was high, but I don't know. I really don't know what to make of him yet. Like,
I don't either.
Connor Zary looks right now like he's going to be more of a point guard than Coronato.
Yep.
Right? So.
Yep. And this year, I mean, I'm not throwing you under the bus here and driving over you on a bad day, but you kind of pigeonholed him. I know you're getting ready to punch me. I know you pigeonholed him as kind of a Calder Trophy candidate.
Yeah, I expected he would.
Yeah, and I
had the opportunity, right?
Right, and I had some really high expectations of him this year, and quite honestly, I can't say that he's met him.
No, not at all. But I mean, part of that, I think, as well, is just the fact that other guys stepped up in a way that Coronato didn't, to be fair to what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
I never would have pegged Zary as being a Calder candidate, and realistically, he should be. Had he not been injured, I think he'd be a finalist.
Probably not in the right market, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with that. So let's switch gears here for a second, because we're going to be talking with these guys throughout the summer as well. Andrei Kuzmenko.
Yeah.
Andrei Kuzmenko has more goals as a Flame than Lindholm has points as a Canuck.
I know.
Okay, I'm going to give you my position first, and I trust it's not going to influence your answer here, but we talked about this a little bit before. I'd keep this guy.
I would not.
I
don't think you need to re-sign him this summer, though, do you?
Oh, God, no, because if you have a shit year, actually, you can flip him, right?
Yes, that's what I did. Like, just let it play out, right?
He is so dynamic offensively.
He is gaining. Okay, when we first got him, I was really high on him. And then I kind of got a little frustrated. But now I'm starting to see the true play, like a wider, broader, we're seeing more games, right? So I'm starting to buy into a little bit more of what he can bring to this team. And God knows we need offensive talent. And
he fixed the power play.
Oh, for sure he did.
He fixed a broken power play virtually single-handedly because he unlocked all those guys that weren't getting it done, right?
Yep, exactly.
Our power play since he joined the team, we need to look that up.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's look at our power play since he was fully integrated into it, which would be late January.
Yeah, it was an end of January trade. But what a difference! Like
our
power play cost us the playoffs.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
A couple other things.
Oh yeah, that to me that's damn near chief amongst them.
Well, think about this, Cal. Like, yeah, how many you're bang on there? How many teams with bad power plays make the playoffs?
Well, the general rule of thumb is you're going to be top half of the league in PP and PK.
Yep.
If you do those things, it's very likely you're a playoff team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the penalty kill's been really good all year. So
yeah,
I can think of maybe 2 games where it wasn't great out of 78 or whatever we played. So
Another young prospect I want to quick talk about. Sloviov was called up from the Wranglers, played last night.
Yeah.
So where's your? I mean, the sample size I believe is 8 games only. That's not much at all. So it's tough to give a fair sample size. Much like I will say that I'm probably and hopefully I hope jumping the gun on Coronato. But where are you sitting on Slovia?
I got another one that's really hard to say, but I 7th defender, honestly, right now. But there's still room for some development, so I don't want to stick to that and say that's what he's going to be because I think he could be 5 or 6. I don't see him any higher in the NHL, but he had a bit of a rough game, but his first one in the NHL in a while, right? So jury's kind of out, but I see him as 6th, 7th.
I could see him with Braden Pahal as our 3rd pairing next year.
Well, he's got as good a chance as anybody based on, the depth chart.
We're going to need to get some defensemen, and we're going to need to get somebody over the summer, like an NHL-ready defenseman. We're going to need
they're going to sign somebody. I don't have any doubt at all about that because they still believe this team can be competitive, and based on what we've seen at times.
I agree. I think they can be.
Yeah.
I agree.
I saw some interesting stuff, too, about how Jonathan Huberdeau is performing almost identically to how he did in Florida, but just not getting the results. No, by metrics and by a lot of what he's doing, the puck's just not going in. And, I mean, he's been much better since January, much better.
Agree.
But is he very unlucky since he's become a Flame, or is he more lucky in that last year with Florida? I mean, he had stellar numbers other years in Florida, too. But I really think that next year we're actually going to get 60 to 80-point Jonathan Huberdeau back.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope so.
I agree.
I mean, we all hope so, of course.
I just hope we get the Kadri back next year that we got this year because I've been impressed. Been really impressed.
85% of his games have been fantastic, and I'm so glad I got to be at the Kiprusoff game and where I saw Kadri score that goal. Like, indisputably the Flames' goal of the year, I think. Well, actually, Kuzmenko's against St. Louis is up there too. Man, that was sick.
We actually have had some pretty exciting goals this year.
Yeah, just not enough of them to make the fucking playoffs.
Oh,
all right. Back to you. What do you got?
Battle of Alberta. What do you think of that one?
The Flames deserve better fate.
I agree. I thought that was a good hockey game. And did it not irritate you even more last night when we were flat against San Jose? And it's like, come on. Like, we play so hard against LA the other night. We play so hard against
but that's why they don't make the playoffs. Look, I mean, their efforts against Chicago made me want to pick a new favorite hockey team. They were so bad. San Jose. Chicago stands out the most to me. Who else were they terrible against this year? But they embarrassed themselves against bottom feeders. And again, I get that there's parity in the league. Everybody matches up differently. Those are all legitimate reasons to think that they could lose those games, but to do it so consistently.
Yeah, that's a room thing. That's a room problem. Hyman and Markstrom kind of get into it a little bit in Saturday night's game. Were you a little bit upset that no one came to Markstrom's defense on those?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was too, a little bit.
Yeah, not cool.
I think there's a point, especially after the second one, it's like, all right, someone needs to go take a cross-checking penalty or someone needs to do something.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Is it? Let's think of an NHL comparable to Zach Hyman, a guy who will never, ever score that many goals again. I'm almost certain. Not to say, not good for him. I mean, he earned it, but like, good God. It's like Dmitry Kristich in Toronto type performance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of somebody right now. You got me thinking. Probably not going to come up with anybody.
Jonathan Cgy?
I remember that year.
What did he score? Like 56? How?
I don't know.
And just fell off a cliff.
Wasn't he playing with Marlowe, though, at the time?
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure he was on the line with Marlowe. That would do it.
Anyway.
I don't know. What did you think of the Rasmus Anderson, Patrick Kane slash back and forth, and Kane ends up with a $5,000 fine?
I kind of laughed, honestly.
Do you know what I thought, though, on Saturday night? I thought, okay, so we got Markstrom getting knocked around. When we signed Kadri, the first thing I thought about was, man, this is the guy in the Battle of Alberta that's going to be there to go round and round.
Yeah.
And in those games, I'm not saying he's played bad. It just, he has brought nothing of that to that series at all. Nothing.
No. I was hoping he'd fight Evander Kane at one point.
Me too.
Also because they both just wear number 91.
I'm not sure he'd win that. I think he might get his ass handed to him.
I don't know. That's why I want to see it, because I don't know.
Who's the last guy Kadri fought?
Oh, dude, I don't know. It's been a while.
Shit, has he fought in Calgary?
Don't think so. Actually, now that you say that.
Does that irritate you? Because that pisses me off.
You know what irritates me even more? I'll use this as a segue into something else just for a moment. This makes this podcast fun. That, there's talk of relocating the Coyotes to Salt Lake City.
I got it on my list. Yeah.
And
pisses you off about that?
That there's still people trying to defend the Coyotes' existence in Arizona.
Undefendable.
No,
it's their bills, for God's sakes.
They can't draw a crowd. And then I saw Mike Gould, Mike has some great takes on X, and is
he does.
He knows hockey. But he loves the Coyotes, and I don't know why. I'll never understand it, but he's trying to defend the Coyotes by saying Salt Lake, by showing their arena, which is for the Utah Jazz, and basically how it's really just built for basketball. Now that's the argument against that, of course, that they're going to build a new arena if they get an NHL team, which I'm sure they would.
He's right.
Yeah.
But it's better than Mullet Arena.
Well, that's the thing. And then there's they're negotiating. Well, no, this has been going on for years. If that city loved hockey, they would have, first they'd still be in Glendale.
Yes. If that market wanted hockey, they'd still be in Glendale and they'd be doing fine.
I don't understand why the NHL has been so reluctant to let them go. And that it's like the Thrashers leaving for Winnipeg. Why was that okay? Atlanta's a huge sports market. Huge.
Horrible hockey market.
Oh, yeah, they've lost 2 teams, both to Canada. But the Coyotes, I wished and wished they would work there, because I thought that's some cool jerseys, and hockey works in so many other warmer climates. But just move that team.
Well, how many years can you do this?
How many years have we been doing it? These issues. Yeah, I don't think anybody's cared about the Coyotes.
More than 25. They moved in
97. 96, sorry.
Was it that late? 96?
Yeah, 96, 97, yeah.
What are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Nobody's cared about them, I think, since Tkachuk and Roenick played there.
They didn't even care about them then, only when they went to the playoffs.
That one run with Mike Smith. And they lost to the Kings.
I'm serious. They've had a couple good hockey teams along the way, and people still didn't go to regular season games. They went to the playoff games. You can't survive on that. You just can't.
No, it's the experiment's over. It's time to stop. I'm curious to hear any legitimate arguments otherwise, because I'd be damned if I know of anybody that can fathom one. They don't work in Arizona. They don't want hockey, and they prove it all the time.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So anyway, case closed on that one.
Let's talk a little bit about the Western Conference playoff race. And if
we're not talking about the Coyotes, then
no, definitely change subject from Flames and Coyotes. So if it started today, let me go through these matchups with you. Dallas versus Vegas, Vancouver versus Nashville, Colorado, Winnipeg, and Edmonton, LA. That's
beautiful. I think Edmonton's going to watch out for LA this time around.
I do too.
Yep.
I do too.
The younger players have really stepped up, and I think they're a sneaky good team. Same with the Canucks. The Canucks just have had a hard time recently putting it all together, and Nashville is, again, they're kind of, to me, built for the playoffs. And I think goaltending wise, Saros matches up well there.
Now, both of our hearts are kind of with Winnipeg. Where do you see them against Colorado?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. That is a tough. That all hinges on Hellebuck. If Winnipeg can knock off Colorado, I don't see how they don't make it to the finals.
But think about this. If Dallas, you look at this. If Vegas had Hellebuck, we'd be calling them Stanley Cup contender. Mm-hmm. If Colorado had Hellebuck, we'd be writing them we'd be engraving their name on the cup right now.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
If Edmonton had Hellebuck, Winnipeg, I mean, nobody saw Colorado getting swept last year by freaking Seattle. So this stuff can happen, man.
Yeah. No, I'm really curious. It's really got some great matchups, some really, really great matchups. And I think the Stars are going to, I don't know. I think Vegas is going to get their just desserts for all this fucking cap circumvention. I hope they do anyway.
Jake Ottinger. It's a good goal.
But yeah, if we see 2022 playoff Jake Ottinger, Vegas is toast.
Oof, yeah.
I'd love to see Hannafin on the golf course. Bye-bye.
Wow, he's got a little bit of fire in him today.
You know what? I don't like the way that went down. See you later. I don't wish you luck. I don't wish you harm. Don't wish just bye. Yeah. Move on. You know? Yeah. And I don't like Vegas. I love the city. It's a great place to visit, but I'm not a fan of that team. So maybe if they'd stop circumventing the cap. Actually, they're not really circumventing. They're doing it within the rules, which pisses me off even more. So anyway.
Oh boy.
I need you to move me on.
Oliver Shillington.
Yes.
He has been nominated for the 2024 Masterton. Yep. A trophy that was won last year by Michael Backlund of the Flames. Yes. That's a great honor for Oliver Shillington. And
well deserved.
Super happy he's back. I've felt up and down about his play as the season has went on, but I'm interested to see what happens over the offseason with him.
Man, I don't think I've ever yawned so much in a podcast. What a day. Yeah, I'm kind of curious too. I mean, he didn't really get a full season in. I mean, almost 2/3, maybe. Not quite.
Yeah. And it's hard when you don't get a camp. So, I mean, there's something to be
well, and you don't get a camp, and in his case, it's like you're coming to a team you haven't been around in a year and a half. Like, it's different coach, different personnel, different sit. Like, where does he really fit, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think a team has ever had a representative win the Masterton Trophy consecutive years. I just don't see that. Just because the nature of the award is going to go to somebody else, I think. But he's very deserving. I mean, the fact he came back at all, and you were chief amongst those people who weren't convinced he would be back, right?
I didn't. I mean, I think when you've missed that amount of time that he missed, the odds are, I mean, mathematically against you coming back, and he's overcome those odds, and I'm super happy for him, and I'm super happy as a Flames fan to have him in the locker room and have him on the ice, because I think he's an asset for us.
Yep, absolutely he is.
But I'm very interested to see how that asset grows, because we got to remember the year that he kind of broke out. That year we were deciding between keeping him or Valimaki, basically. Yeah. And he won that out, and he had a great year. Then he disappeared, and we didn't see him for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And now can he replicate those good years, right?
Isn't it crazy to think now he's one of the veteran defensemen on this team behind Weegar and Anderson?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
That's scary, actually.
How have you felt about
him?
No, none. It's just what a switch, right?
Yeah. I mean, look at the holes that have just disappeared. I mean, you look in the last 5 years, it's like Giordano gone, all these key big
Gio, Tanev, and Hannafin. There's three of them right there, right?
Yeah. Think about that.
Zadorov too. Forgot about him.
Stone. Forgot about that one too.
Oh, God, I love Michael Stone. Flames legend. Forever a Flame.
Forever a Flame.
First jersey I see when I walk into my basement, it's Michael Stone's.
Yep.
I
don't think it's getting retired.
What?
I don't think it's getting retired.
Oh, no. No, did the Hitman? No, the Hitman, did they retire? They just honor him.
No, I don't think they retired.
No, there's a big Hitman Michael Stone thing that's saddled him. I just remembered.
How do you feel about junior teams retiring numbers?
It's kind of dumb.
It's kind of hard, right? I mean, you're only there for
4 years.
Only there for 3-4 years tops.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like tops for sure. Actually, the fact that Etienne Morin played like 3 years in Moncton pretty well is pretty unbelievable. But
what are we getting with him?
Very skilled offensive defenseman who's better defensively than you think. The Flames are really, really high on him. I think they have every reason to be. He had a bit of a down year this year. He was down by like 20-some points probably, but very, very efficient, effective puck mover. In fact, we're going to have a glut of those if Morin, Bristovich, Mirmanov is really good offensively. Like, I don't know. One of these, there's going to be a logjam eventually. I think we're about another year away from seeing it. Oh, Jeremy Poirier.
How long before he breaks into the roster?
Morin?
Yeah.
Like with the Flames?
Yeah. 3 years? 2 years?
He's 2 at best. I'd probably put him at 3, but I could see it in 2.
Okay. I just want to know why we don't ever get defensemen or forwards, for that matter, that break into this team at 20 years old, and
because we don't draft high enough
and top.
Yeah.
Oh no, you can't say that because Dallas does it.
Well, the regime just changed, and hopefully it goes beyond just the GM, and now it's a ownership philosophy change. Well, that's hard to believe. Yeah, we could, but I mean, you're also kind of throwing yourself to the wolves, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing is most of the teams we're talking about, or most of the teams in general, really have established rosters where they can slot in guys at 18, 19 years old, and they're well protected.
And that's what I wish we could have done over the last 3 years, where we just slot in 1 or 2. Like I was all
that's
about this.
Should have been doing, right?
I was all about this youth movement,
Yeah.
But I ain't really buying into that 6 rookies on a team type method, because that's going to be like the Buffalo Sabres method.
Well, if we put guys in the lineup, before like Kachuk and Gaudreau had left, and some of those guys, and start to ease them in, by this point, they're probably 60-point players in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't do it that way. So this is part of that rough transition. With you haven't been bringing young players into the roster in a responsible, effective way.
Yeah.
So how do you just suddenly start doing it? Well, you have to sell off your UFAs because they're going to be UFAs, and you're not making the playoffs. So it's a weird transition period. I don't know how long this is going to last. We're kind of stuck in purgatory for a little while yet before we start to see some real progress. So
yeah, I would agree. It's going to be tough sledding for a little bit.
Absolutely.
So what do we have this week? Thursday, Calgary in LA, another late one, 8:30 Calgary time. And then Friday night, we back it up again with a trip to Anaheim, which we used to be scared of, but now we don't care. Back home.
Thanks to Jobu and Glenn Gulletson. An honorable mention to Mike Smith.
Back home Sunday to play Salt Lake, and then
Salt Lake,
Arizona.
That's funny.
Tuesday, a week from last night, we are on the road in Vancouver, and then we record Wednesday, and you know what? After that, there's one more game.
Wow.
Then we'll be talking locker cleanout. We'll be doing.
Yes. Then we're almost. Then we're gonna kind of decide a schedule from there. We're almost into we'll be an hour off season, right?
Yeah, we'll be into the off season. We're gonna run shows, but we'll just
run a couple episodes of Jets Unfiltered.
No, we are not. We are cheering for them. We're not fans of them, right? Oh shit! Gosh, I just wish we were in the playoffs.
Oh, it's so fun.
Playoffs, like this time of year, I just get so nervous and so excited. And
oh man, it's so fun. And there's nothing like being there for it too. Like I've talked about extensively, but I was there in 15. I was there in 22. It's like
there's no way I can
go.
If this team's a playoff team, there's no way I fall asleep last night during the San Jose game.
No, you'd be pounding coffee or whatever.
You know what? If I would have fallen asleep, I would sure as hell not admit it, because I would have got booted from the fan base.
Yeah, I'd be running.
But now I say I fell asleep during it, and there's about 90% of Flames fans are like, yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of where we're at.
Right? You know what though? After you're out, whether it's mathematically or you just know you're out, it's really tough because you want to watch, the young players like Solovoyev coming back in and Wolf getting the start and Coronato, but it's tough because everybody else is getting, not everybody, but 16 teams are gearing up for the funnest time of year, and your team lost too many fucking games to Chicago and San Jose that you can't join the party. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Oh well.
But you know what? Again, we're heading in the right direction. I got to say some positive things because my mantra is to be more positive, even though today I wanted off myself. Got to be more positive. We're going in the right direction. Good things are happening.
Oh, man, Kyle.
See, now I'm putting you in a better mood by talking about my misery. I told one of the new assistants that I hired, who's in my office, about, trying to manage stress. And by no means am I an expert, but like being self-aware, making sure you're hydrated, you can only do one thing at a time. I said, and if all that fails, just remember we have drop ceilings in here, so we can't hang ourselves. So figure it out.
Oh man. Well, I'm guessing tomorrow will be a better day for you.
I never have 2 bad days in a row, whether that's just the way it is or because of how I perceive them. I really think it's a perception thing, but
hey, we're healthy and good. Life's good, right?
I said today, I can't wait for this day to be over. And a guy I work with said, don't wish time away. And he's 100% right. So a lot of times just banter to try and vent. But yeah, it's whether you're a Flames fan or struggling with stress at work, like I sometimes do. I mean, there's always challenges in life, right? And these ones are pretty insignificant when you really think about the big picture.
For sure. Yep. Because nothing matters in the hockey world if we're not good in the R world, right?
Well, this is why Oliver Shillington is a nominee for the Masterson Trophy, though. Great segue.
That is true. That is true. All right, Flames fans, we move on for another week. We're in LA tomorrow night, watching that one, and busy weekend of Flames hockey. And then we will have no Flames hockey, but we will be following the Wranglers in the playoffs. And let's hope that one is a long, exciting playoff run. Until next week, Kyle, you get better. You get good.
Get better. Like this is not going to be admitted. I'm working on it, man. We're gonna turn this. Turn this thing around. Right the ship. I don't know. I'm good. The podcast always helps.
Alrighty, Flames fans, take it easy this week. Have a good week, and see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Flames Unfiltered with Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis, your source for unfiltered Calgary Flames hockey talk. Keep it locked on flamesunfiltered.ca. Subscribe where you get all your podcasts to never miss an episode. Flames hockey talk every week, presented by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.